will put up the two. And Southside take game one over the Boomers in game two. Can they keep their season alive, or will Southside sweep them? And Hillman breaks the drought.
The smallest player on the floor says not in my house.
They're scrapping, bodies hit the floor. Canada creates some space for herself and makes it.
Bring on game three, Jason Graffy. We all want a game three.
And for the second straight year, the Boomers take it to game three. Melbourne keep their season alive. It's grand final or bust for the Southside Flyers and Melbourne Boomers as they prepare for a semi-final game three decider at the Boombox. The Flyers struck first, claiming a thrilling game one before the Boomers hit back hard to dominate game two. Now, as was the case last season, it comes down to 40 minutes of high-pressure, high-intensity basketball to decide who will face Perth in the Cygnett WNBL Grand Final. Two great rivals, one Grand Final berth. It's the Southside Flyers and the Melbourne Boomers. Game three starts now. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Cygnett WNBL semi-finals. Thanks to Foot Locker. Jason Bennett alongside Laurie Chiswick and Zoe Carr for the Boomers and the Flyers. Part three, Laurie. Perth ready and waiting in the grand final. Now we find out who will join them.
Well, I hope you're not asking me that question because I have absolutely oscillated back and forth all day as to who I think is Southside going to be able to produce this and is Melbourne then going to be able to counter it. So we are going to have to wait for 40 minutes of game time to get that answer.
Zoe, the temptation when you have a three-game series is to lean towards the team that won game two, particularly if they dominated game two as the Boomers did. But as the Flyers showed last year, game two success doesn't equate to winning the series. The Flyers know that all too well. They'll take some confidence from coming back and winning game three last year.
Absolutely, and they've been on the practice floor. They've watched tape. They know what they need to fix and how they need to go about this game and approach this game to make sure they get the win. So, yeah, they're a class outfit. They won't be too concerned with that. They'll have learned their lessons and they'll have moved on. Let's recap the first two games of this series.
The Flyers got on an 11-point run to end the third quarter of game one. They managed to hang on in the final term for a thrilling 4-point win, 80-76. Brolin and Jackson top scoring. Mitchell and Dickey having a huge impact. And then last Saturday night, the Boomers found their rhythm first. They led by 2 points at quarter time, 6 at the half, took control in the third term and powered away to a 21-point win that sets up game three tonight. Joining us now is the fourth member of our commentary team this evening. Candy Hertz is courtside. And Candy, we know the Boomers are banged up and sore. What's the latest? What's the ins and outs for tonight?
Yeah, they have had an injury-riddled season, and unfortunately they were dealt a pretty big blow with Sarah Blitzars out with a bad shin. Of course, she's now on crutches for the rest of the final series. They've had a little bit of niggles as well when it comes to Naz and also with Wally. But the good news with both of them is that they are in for this game. Unfortunately, though, it has been a tough season for Penina Davison. The good news today is we've been seeing her suit up, we've been seeing her warm up, and finally today we're going to be seeing her back out on the court. They are going to be using her very sparingly and only for limited minutes, but she is going to be out there. When it comes to the Flyers injuries, nothing to report there. They are a full and healthy team. Now, once again, just like in game one, the State Basketball Centre is ongoing with their renovations, which means that although this is traditionally the home court of the Boomers, once again today, this is the home court of the Flyers. You'll see mostly Flyers fan in what is set to be an almost sellout crowd here tonight.
Thanks, Candy. Well, Chris Lucas and the Boomers know all too well about that game two dominance and game three success, Laurie. What did they gain in game two? Some insight into things that worked for them. What are their keys to success tonight?
Well, number one has to be to attack the paint. The Flyers had real trouble defending that dribble penetration in game two, resulting in the Boomers scoring 31 points from the foul line. So they look very dangerous when they attack and get their feet in the paint. Secondly, value possession. Game one, the Boomers had 17 turnovers, so they needed to really tie it up, which they did in game two. And high-stakes games such as these, it's all about possession. And number three, block out. Game one, again, Flyers really dominated the offensive rebounding, resulting in some great second chance opportunities, but they did a much better job blocking out, and they will have to continue to do that. be very diligent. And lastly, team defense. Wasn't it amazing in Game 2? And they will want to keep doing that. Make sure they stay focused and disciplined again tonight to counter the scoring prowess of Southside.
Zoe, they say you learn more from defeat than victory. So what did Cheryl learn from Game 2 and what are Southside's keys to success tonight?
Well, it is effectively the opposite to what Laurie had to say for the Melbourne Boomers. They must protect the paint. There was far too much creation allowed with Melbourne Boomers in the last game, where they weren't just scoring by getting their feet in the paint, but they were able to find open shooters or create more offense out of that. So they must sit down defensively and protect the paint. They have to win the boards. You can see the size advantage that Southside have, and not only from an offensive rebounding perspective, but from a defensive rebounding perspective. They've got to keep Melbourne Boomers to 1 shot per possession max, and then look to capitalise that through their offense. That gives them more possession and allows them to play. And they've got to focus on what's next. We saw a few times in the last game where they were getting a little bit hung up on things that are outside of their control. So if they can keep their mindset locked in, we've seen throughout the season when Southside are locked in, they become borderline unstoppable. If they can keep that mindset of focusing on what's next when things maybe aren't going so well, then they'll be able to get themselves back on track and hopefully get them a chance to win the game.
There's a look at their starting 5, fully healthy. The Southside Flyers, the Boomers, not so much. Battling their way through some injury, but Laurie, that in itself can be galvanising in a group.
Well, it is. You know you have to come out. Everybody has to step up. It has to be by committee. It's not just one person replacing. So they've got a strong sort of 7 that rotation is going with, and it doesn't, right now you go into Game 3 of a semifinal, they're not going to feel hurt or tired or sorry for themselves. They're going to be ready to go.
So the time has come for these 2 great crosstown rivals to step up. Southside claiming Game 1, Melbourne responding in Game 2. Now it comes down to a Game 3 decider to determine who will join the Perth Lynx in the Cygnett WNBL Grand Final. It's the Flyers and the Boomers. Game 3 at the Boombox, thanks to Foot Locker, the winner to progress to face Perth in the Grand Final. Best of luck to both teams, and away we go in Game 3. First possession will be Southside's. Mitchell to Rochi. They combined for 33 points in Game 1, just 11 in Game 2. Their guards, Jackson. Lauren spins, doesn't make the first. Away comes Hillman.
Exactly where she wants to get it, though, right in that low post area, that short corner area. That's her move.
Amy Rochi's really stepped up in this final series. Conti, Canada, being harassed by Rochi. Season opening. Jackson tries to fill the lane. First points, Jordan Canada.
We spoke about at the start, Laurie, you said about how they need to, make sure that they keep attacking the paint. First possession out of the gates, straight at the rim.
Nice ball inside from Russell. Mitchell back out to Rochi. Thought about pulling the trigger. Leilani will. Front iron and away comes Conti. Start important here for Melbourne. They've been slow starters for most of the season. Froling receives from Conti, who wins her own rebound. Came up with 9 rebounds in Game 2. It was really important. Canada. Conti is on early.
Well, that's part of their game plan. Get your feet in the paint, and if you get stopped, kick it out to a wide open shooter, which is exactly what they did with Conti.
Cole to Russell to Jackson. Now Mitchell. Russell at the stripe. He's got the size advantage over Conti, so she drives and Monda strips her. They've called it jump ball. Melbourne ball. Fantastic start from Mon Conti.
And great defensive play there. It's the right decision to look to try and attack it, that mismatch. Just got to keep the ball slightly higher above her shoulders to not allow the smaller player in there to be able to come up with that and create that turnover.
Amy Rochi. Composure and leadership. It's been really telling for the Boomers in this series. Canada. Slight hesitation, can't finish. Away comes Jackson. Off to Rochi. Wants to put some speed on. Now pulls up. Russell. LJ. Money.
you have to think that LJ, she is such a winner, such a competitor. She knows in close games what to do, that she'll be a real focal point for the Southside Flyers.
Chris Lucas telling us he's expecting LJ to go up another gear tonight. 5-time champ. Froling has it stripped by Rochi. Away comes Maddie, has some support. Waits for the setup. Here's Jackson. Jackson-Froling matchup looms as a critical one once again. Rochi to Cole inside. Here is LJ versus Keeley. Good D from Keeley on this occasion. Rochi to Canada. Gets a screen from Froling. Sees the opening, goes herself. Again, can't finish. Well done, Froling with a putback.
And again, it's that creation, getting Southside allowing Boomers just to continue to get feet in the paint, and when they're missing shots, predictable shots are reboundable.
There's Jackson again.
Well, that's something that they're going to have to take care of business, the Melbourne Boomers. You cannot leave her open in her favorite spot across her whole career at the top of the three-point line.
LJ on early. Always spells trouble. 1-point game. Canada so quick off that first couple of steps. She got some separation. 3 in a row now for Jordan that haven't quite dropped. Inside to Froling. Well done, Russell. Slaps it away to Rochi, and the Flyers have got their feet underneath them. After it was all Melbourne early, had the first 5 points. Herman to Conti. One-season opening, pulls up and finishes.
We like to see that mid-range jumper. We were talking about it off air beforehand.
On Conti with 5 points. Mitchell to respond, it's short. Away comes Rochi. Beautifully weighted ball. Flips it back inside to Hillman. Lovely ball movement from the Boomers.
That Hillman had her head up with that, because that was, I thought she was going to go all the way to the basket.
Good chemistry there on offense from Melbourne. Cole takes on Amy Rochi, drives to the rack, and is fouled. Two players who know each other extremely well. Amy Rochi and Beck Cole would have gone head-to-head at training many times.
That was a really good take by Beck Cole. She really head down, got her feet in the paint, and just dropped that inside shoulder and went right into Amy Rochi. And what a great foul shooter Beck Cole is. 85% for this season.
85% for her career as well. And that fixed her. But Jackson makes it better. Makes it a three-point play. LJ's up to 8 points early. Conti's got 5 for the Boomers. And Rochi's stripped now by Beck Cole. Fouled on the last one. And fouled again.
That's it. Yeah, that's trouble now for Melbourne Boomers. Had 2 quick fouls in the first quarter, so now you've got to make that decision. Do you bring her out to try and save her and make sure she doesn't pick up her third? But that didn't need to be fouled. That you could just wall that up and make her play over the top and go from there. But, you know, now Boomers have to start and decide whether they play Amy Rochi now until the second quarter or for the rest of this quarter.
Flyers lead it by a point. For the first time tonight, Southside are in front. Here's Tara Reid into the action, as Rochi did sit down. Had a real impact in game one. Came off the bench and had 11 in the first half. She drives to the rack, and Laurie, we've already seen Tara's combination of size and athleticism be a bit of a problem matchup for Southside in this series.
She's a great three-point shooter, one of the best in the competition, but her ability to athletically get her feet in the paint, get to the rack, go downhill, and then use her length and size to finish strongly over somebody like Beck Cole.
She's 11 of 12 from the stripe in this series, Tara Reid. Boomers lead again. midway through the opening term. Game 3 at the Boombox. Great to have you with us on ESPN. Thanks to Foot Locker. Russell. Rocci against Conti. Mon tries to strip her and does successfully. Kept the hands out, didn't foul.
That's an example of just walling up and forcing them to either shoot over or around you and see what happens. And in that case, comes up with the turnover.
Canada, the league MVP. What a super season in her first year in the WNBL. Froling. Wasn't sure of the option. LJ did well. Read it perfectly. Hands it off to Mitchell. Will she take Froling on? Or will she go to Jackson? She goes to Rocci. Now over the top. Russell's got good position. Hillman looks to close that down. Cole for 3. Hits it.
Well, I have to say, Beck Cole in game 1 and 2 really didn't have great games, and already now we can see the difference in her game and what she's doing and bringing to this team.
Shots not dropping early for Canada. She's getting to the rack, but she's 1 for 5. Jackson. Oh, would have been a body blow. Flyers lead by 2. So Canada getting looks, Laurie, but right now they're just not quite dropping.
No, but she's, she's MVP for a reason, so she just has to block that sort of thing out and keep doing what she does.
Conti goes from long range. That won't go either. And the Flyers now a chance to make it a 2-possession game. Cole. Jackson. Rocci gets the screen from Russell. Will she feed it through, or she'll go herself? And 1!
So that was a really good, excellent high basketball IQ decision by Maddie Rocci. She could see that they were switching, but they just were late in recovering and getting their body back, Conti, and just hesitated and then went strongly to the basket.
All fired up, the Southside Flyers tonight. And rightly so. A grand final berth on the line against their arch rival. Beat them by a point in this corresponding fixture last year to make it through to the grand final. Hillman. Conti wraps around. Russell comes across, can't stop it. Mon's been effective early, up to 7 points. Russell to Cole. Beck sets up for a deep 2. Slapped away Jackson. Picked off by Canada. Jordan puts it on the floor, feeds Hillman. Fortunately, time to recover. Froling from deep. Scores level again.
Well, the bigs come into play from the three-point line at both ends of the floor. Adjustments are going to need to be made to try and stem both teams from the 3.
Mitchell. Rocci thought about the really deep 3. Gets a little closer. Lovely feed inside to Jackson, and Hillman fouls. Good heads-up play again from Maddie Rocci.
7.
Just a little bit late in coming over. The rotation was right.
Lauren Jackson, the 5-time WNBL champion, 4-time MVP, 4-time grand final MVP. And she's in double figures in the first quarter.
Well, we know how consistently, what a great, big-time game scorer she is. 20 points the first game, 21 points the second game, and certainly on target for those numbers again today.
She might blow them up by half-time the way she's going. Froling, Hillman. Final 2 minutes of the opening term. Conti, long range again. Wanted to follow it in. Pressure from Froling on Russell. Jackson off to Rocci. It's been a good response from the Flyers. It was a great start from Melbourne. Well done, Reed. How did she do that? Picked a pocket. Canada. Conti again from long range. Well done, Canada. Comes over the top. Heavy collision. We know Conti lets them fly. She's 3 for 6 from long range. She won't die wondering. Spoke to Chris Lucas about that. Here's that steal from Tara Reid, was just absolutely brilliant. And Laurie said, look, I trust Monconti to make great decisions. She'll take some shots, she'll make some shots, she'll miss some. But her overall contribution is more than just a shooting percentage.
Totally, and she does it at both ends of the court. She's a great defender, she's up and in, but her decision-making offensively, you know, if she's not hitting those shots, she'll find a ways and means to either get her teammates open or facilitate and get herself to the basket.
Maddie Rocci takes a seat. Jazz Dickey checks into the game, had such a massive impact in game one.
You see Christy Wallace step onto the court as well.
In fact, it's Nadia Poch in. Dickey still sits. Canada. Here is Wallace, straight into the action. Wanted to feed it to Hillman, who was open. And a foul on Russell, just as the ball was jarred free. You can see the cogs in Christy Wallace's mind ticking over, Zoe.
Yeah, and it's an unfortunate timing to have that foul. You know, the shot clock pressure was on. There was only 5 seconds to go. But you know, when the ball's contest or open and you want to try and go for it, you'd rather be a little more aggressive than the other way. So it's a good response from the Southside Flyers from the last game. It seems like there's a lot more energy and a lot more urgency in the way that they're playing.
So the floor is cleaned. And it'll be a sideline ball for Melbourne. With a fresh 14. Reid to Hillman. It's just enormous in game two. Wallace. Reid goes herself. Tough finish. Almost made it. Rattled around. Away comes Mitchell. Russell to Cole, who's been productive in this opening term. Back to Leilani. Now Potch is into the game. Floats it over the top. Jackson. Well played, Potch. Keeps it alive for Southside.
I like the adjustment from the Boomers there to go and trap the post catch when Lauren Jackson caught the ball. They just sent the second player there just to put a bit of pressure on and then get back to their own player.
Potch tries to break free and Reid marks her. So it goes through Jackson to Russell. Here's Nadio. Well read by Canada. Picks it off. Mitchell comes across and fouls. The quick hands of Jordan Canada. Just lightning. Two-time leader in WNBA steals. She's got pedigree.
Well, and she leads our league in steals as well, averaging at least 3 a game. Just so active with her hands.
The hard part for this for Southside is that, you know, we mentioned it before, Canada's sort of struggled a little bit so far to finish on her penetration. She gets to go to the line now and probably see a couple go through the net, which will give her the confidence.
Averaging 18 points, 5 rebounds, 8 assists a game. And she ties things up with 49 seconds to play in the first. Cole to Ernst, who's into the game. Potch to Mitchell. Here's Ernst. Got the matchup with Froling right now. Russell works on Hillman, does well and finishes.
They used almost all of that shot clock, and it was great player and ball movement. I was getting lost just watching the defenders and where they were going.
Final 12 seconds of the term. Canada setting up for this final play. Can she tie it up or give them the lead? Well done, Potch. Stolen back, Canada. Almost. What a play that would have been. Entertaining, tight, tense opening term. It's Southside 22, Melbourne 20, quarter time at the Boombox. ESPN's WNBL semi-finals, thanks to Foot Locker.
Okay, T, play it two side. Okay, reverse the ball back to Keely. Okay, I want Wally in the corner. Mon here. Okay, bring it out of back cut through Wally hold. Okay, bring it out of back door. Now they're blowing everything up. So use your back door, use your counters. Yeah, but I'm cleared her into a two.
This guard has to stay low first. Stay low, the ball gets reversed, come up, because they're going to try and deny.
Yep. Okay, all right, I'm okay with that. In our sets, keep the ball moving, okay? We're on the back foot. We need to look after the ball. Without switching, got to get under quicker. All right, we need to look after the ball. All righty? Okay, here we go.
Just beware, sometimes they deny and Jordan, so we might need flash.
Okay. Hey, we won the rebounds. Okay, fine bodies. Okay, stay ready. Just going to go small for a bit. Try and get your spell, Jay.
Plenty of involvement in that opening term. Came up with 7 points, leads the game for Melbourne, while Lauren Jackson has 10 for Southside. It's the Flyers by 2 points after Melbourne scored the opening 5 points of the game. Laurie Chiswick, Zoe Carr, what did you make of the opening term?
Well, it was everything we expected it to be. It was high scoring, high skill. Defense has definitely taken a step up from the last game. So it's great to see the adjustments that both teams have made since game one.
Nothing's easy out there. Everything's contested, everything's denied. Lots of great switching aggressively.
Cole, weighted pass, off hands and out. Candy was in the Southside huddle.
Sure was. Cheryl was pretty happy with her team. She said, don't forget our deal as a team was to play every phase, no stopping now. Just make sure you keep them off the O boards. And she's going to work on quite a few subs this round.
So it's +4 in the rebound count in favour of the Boomers. Cole over the top. You can see a distinct strategy. Get it into Mercedes Russell as often as possible.
Yeah, and she does such a great job of using her body. You can see her here, how she just uses her hip to ride Keely Froling up the line so she can get that space for the lob pass or the high-low look for her.
And what a wonderfully weighted pass that was from Beck Cole, passing it just a little bit in front of her so she could release and go and get the ball.
6 points in game one, 15 in game two for Mercedes Russell. Had a super year, all first team, averaging 15 points, 9 rebounds, 2 assists a game. Big part to play tonight. The Flyers lead by 4. Froling looking for an option. Will she go herself against Cole? She does. Mitchell to Russell. Ernst. Back to Leilani. Here's Russell against Froling again. Mercedes is the weapon right now on offense for Southside.
And not much more Keely Froling could have done there defensively. Put her body on the line. But again, Mercedes Russell just using her body so well to create space.
It's Jackson from long range early. Now it's Russell inside for Southside. Wallace gets the handoff from Froling. Canada, 5 seconds. Somehow gets to position, draws a foul. She's so quick, Laurie. You look at the shot clock and think, there's only 4 or 5 seconds left. She's not going to be able to get to the rack in time, and somehow she does it with time to spare.
Well, she's quick and she's explosive. So that first step of hers is really fast, and you can see that she just twists her body around, gets her eyes up on the target nice and early. Now, while she didn't make the basket, it still looks like a shot. It's a good shot and gives herself the opportunity to go to the line.
Missed 3 games with concussion after her tooth lodged in Jade Melbourne's head. Head clash mid-season. Mitchell. Conti. Inside to Ernst. Reed holds her up. Watch it, fires a pass. Mitchell gets to position. Little floater is good.
And that's the danger with any time you send out any type of trapping defense is that you're then in rotations and you've got to try and get out to players quickly on the perimeter.
Canada to the corner. Athletic from Conti to keep it alive to Wallace. As Christie drive herself, draws a crowd. Reed puts it on the floor. Back to Wallace. Lovely work from the Boomers.
That is just great action between the two of them. Really good chemistry, really good vision.
Ernst. End of the game, Jazz Dickey is fouled on the rebound. And Laurie, she completely changed the momentum in game 1 when she came off the bench and had 16 points. Her athleticism is tough to match up on.
Well, it was her athleticism and scoring, but to me it was also she locked down Jordan Canada in that second half of game 1. She did an exceptional job of her, and so anytime she comes on the court, she's going to have an impact.
Mitchell to Jackson to Ernst. Rochi inside to Carly. Will she take on Reed? It's knocked away. Foul called. And Zoe, very few timeouts called in this entire series. These games have just flowed. And we know from Cheryl's perspective, she's looking going, look, I know the Boomers are banged up. They're short on troops. We're going to keep this game rolling so that they end up out of breath.
Yeah, don't give them a chance to have those additional breaks. And then you get breakdowns defensively like we just saw there. So, yeah, letting the game flow, it's great to see and only intervening when you need to, not interfering.
Lauren doing what Lauren does. She's up to 12 points. Flyers lead this by 4. Hillman trying to find Canada. Back to Hillman. Well played by Southside. Pressure telling. And Jackson can get out on the break. And now Chris Lucas will call a timeout. He's side down by 6. It's Southside 32, Melbourne 26. The Cygnett WNBL semi-finals on ESPN, thanks to Foot Locker.
Jackson now, okay? Yeah, we just need to get to her quicker. Go, did she change the D or not? No? Jackson, go to Whites. Jackson White, okay? Yes, and the side, yes. Yes, okay. All right, Mon, hit T here. Okay, we're looking for Dickey will chase you. L cut, come off hard. T is hitting that. You're here.
Make sure you set the screen a little lower and see. Don't be on the free throw line. You gotta be up because I'm gonna curl.
Yeah, if she's up and in, you may have that. Okay?
7 minutes to play in the first half. Game 3 of this semi-final series at the Boombox. Candy Hurts courtside.
Sorry, team, I wasn't able to listen to Cheryl because one of the players, in all the excitement that's happening in that timeout, knocked over the entire water barrel bucket behind the team. If you can see on broadcast now that every single person on the Flyers outfit are out there trying to dry the floor. So sorry, I don't have any insight.
Thanks, Candy. Anything can happen in a game 3. Flyers lead it by 6. Reed trying to find Canada. Again, good denial here from Southside, making life difficult. Reed, the lane open, throws it out, and she's fouled in the process. And you see Leilani Mitchell put her hands on her head, Laurie, to say, we had them there.
Well, they did, and I'm surprised Reed took it out and passed it. I think she should have just kept going to the basket. I think she was lucky that she ended up drawing that foul at the end of it anyway. But that's what they didn't do in game 2. They just went all the way to the basket and found themselves at the line.
Southside doing a great job at making everything difficult for Melbourne on offense right now. Beautiful pass from Conti. Inside out. Wallace, not quite. Off hands, and it'll still remain a Melbourne ball. Shooting percentages right now, Melbourne going at 45%, Southside at 55.
I do like this matchup with Jasmine Dickey on Jordan Canada. I think her length and athleticism is something that can really try and keep her out of the paint and stem her influence.
Not many have the speed and agility required. But Dickey showed in game 1 that she does, and away she comes with the ball here. Her side up by 6 and looking good. Mitchell to Jackson. Ernst, back to Leilani, pressured by Canada. Jackson versus Hillman, lays open. And Hillman comes up with it. Boomers just hanging in right now, a trail by 6. Canada, little shimmy, stripped of it and fouled in the process.
That'll be Leilani's second foul.
So Canada will go to the line. No Padina Davidson as yet, but she is suited up and good to go. Hasn't been seen since tearing that calf January the 13th. So depending on the situation, they may go to Panina. Do or die for these two teams. They fight for a spot in the grand final. Back to a 4-point game. Important couple of points there for Melbourne, just as Southside were pressing. Jackson, Russell, ball movement quite fluent at the moment for Southside. Inside to Jackson again, size advantage on Reed, and has made a career of that. No one stopping LJ from making that shot, Laurie. They haven't stopped her for 25 years. Why would you start now?
That's exactly right.
To the corner for Rochi.
What an answer. What an answer from Amy Rochi. But Melbourne do have to find a way to try and stem a little bit of flow here from Jackson.
In position again. LJ turning it on. She's up to 18 points.
Wow.
The ultimate big game player. Canada inside. Hillman back to Jordan. Trying to shake Rochi. Gets to position again. Just twists and turns, Laurie. She's so slippery.
Well, what she did there was just a little tiniest of shot fakes that got Rochi up in the air. You can see her here, just lifted up and then right back at her.
The issue for Southside here, though, is Jordan Canada's 1 of 6 from the field right now, but has 8 points because they continue to send her to the line. They can't allow her to continue to just rack up points from the foul line until she gets her eye in, because we know a class player like this, she's going to go off at some point. So they need to try and keep her off the foul line as much as possible.
Misses both there. Southside dodge a bullet. Margin stays at 5. Rochi to Jackson. Cole. Russell. Dickey. Looking for an option. Puts it on the floor. Hillman comes across to cut off that lane. Rochi through traffic. Takes on Froling. Not quite. Still alive. Russell keeps it so. Rochi from the corner. Jackson. Harassed by Conti. Wow. Little mid-range jumper from Dickey was beautiful.
Such poise that we didn't see in game 2 from the Southside Flyers. Their ball and player movement. Sorry, that was going to be an exceptional basket if that went down. But right now, this game is all on the Flyers.
Got it on their terms right now. Rochi. Dickey. Jackson sets up inside again. Not this time. Knocked away. Melbourne ball. So Zoe, what can the Boomers change right now? Because it does feel like Southside got the game on their terms.
Yeah, I think defensively they need to just make a little bit of a change up of how they're guarding the post entry. So passes going into the likes of Lauren Jackson and Mercedes Russell. The trap was working for a while and then Southside figured it out. Maybe they need to look to maybe front the post a little bit for a while and try and get some interference that way or just not allow Southside to continue to feed the post at will because they're creating far too much off of it.
This timeout brought to you by CTM Sport, here to transform your team's travel experience. Leave to the experts in travel management. Get the winning edge, ctmsport.com.au.
I don't really love it with, I think we might go some four. Who's going to foul these? Foul less?
Movement, penetration. Go to the point guard spot. Take her off.
Here we go.
Three side.
Melbourne.
And you keep going to the, do you need me to draw it? You're okay? Keep going to the boards here. Now defensively, I just want you to show a 2-3 zone here. And then we're going man. We're man. Here we go. Southside.
4 minutes to play in the second, Laurie.
Well, I like it when, the coaches call something, just like we heard Cheryl Chambers there. They're going to go out, they're going to show that they're in a zone, they're going to stand in specific spots, have their arms out like they're in a zone, and then when that ball enters and probably crosses the halfway line, maybe a pass to the wing, they're going to switch back to man-to-man.
And there you see it, there's the switch. Former Coach of the Year, Laurie Chiswick, alongside Zoe Carr with Candy Hertz courtside for Game 3 at the Boombox. Winner progresses to face Perth in the grand final. It's the Flyers by 7 points. Rochi against Cole, shoots over the top and scores.
That mid-range jumper again, Laurie, what we were talking about before. So being able to just pull up on a dime and stick that when, they were a bit out of sorts because of the disruptive defensive change-up.
Mitchell being harassed by Conti. Ref said she just clipped the elbow. Here's another look. Just there, that little clip of the left elbow.
That brings her up to 2 fouls along with Keely Frawley and Amy Rochi.
So Mon will take a seat. 8 points for Canada, 7 each for Conti and Froling. 18 for Jackson. And here she is again, why not? You just keep going to her. Draws a foul on Reed. When LJ's in this frame of mind, she is near impossible to stop, whether she's 17 or 42.
And again, it's allowing her to get between you and the ball. It's the post entry is just way too easy right now. They need to get some more disruption in there. Either try and play in front and help from behind for a little bit, just to try and change where LJ's going to get her catches from.
Well, and I also think they need more pressure on the perimeter, the person passing it into the post, because give your defensive player time to three-quarter front or get in front. So more ball pressure to try and bide a bit of time.
Lauren Jackson up to 20 points. She's got half of Southside's score. Froling, her opponent for much of the night, responds. Big bucket for Melbourne. It's back to within 4 points again.
That's what we would expect in this Game 3 of the semi-final.
Boomers need to hang in here as the Flyers are making most of the running in this second term. Dickey. Will she go to Jackson again? She'll put it on the floor. Back inside to Russell. And the Twin Towers causing trouble. Russell and Jackson. Russell and Jackson, a 10-centimetre advantage over the likes of Hillman and Froling. Size telling in this first half for the Flyers, going to their strength. Jackson takes a seat.
Well, I think for the Boomers, the Flyers are doing an exceptional job of utilizing their size and their height. And the Boomers have to weather this storm and make a few adjustments at halftime.
Once again, the Boomers just hanging in. They're 7 points down. Just got to hang around and make a move later in the game. Rochi, Hillman, can Nars get involved? Just the 2 points for her so far. Canada's shot just flicks the nylon on the way past, well short. With 2 minutes to play in the second term, it's the Flyers by 7. Mitchell steps around Ernst and kicks it back to Carly. Cole against Rochi. Beck gets to position, pulls up and drains 2 more. Cole up to 9 points.
A lot of that coming from the shooting prowess of the Southside Flyers. Every player had to be closed out because every player on the floor right now can shoot the 3 at a good clip.
Arching out to a game-high 9. And now a turnover gives Flyers a chance to make it a double-digit lead. Russell rolling towards the hoop. Hillman did well. And away comes Canada. To Hillman. Nars up to 4 points.
So I like the speed that they're playing at when they push the ball in transition and try and catch the Flyers off guard a little bit. They haven't done that as much as they did in game 1.
Zoe Hillman probably the missing factor right now. Frolling's got 10 points, but if they're going to combat their talls, and there's Ernst getting to the rack for 2 more, someone like a Nars Hillman's going to have a bigger impact at both ends.
Definitely. Defensively, she has to either be the help that gets there to put pressure on shots or post catches, and offensively, she's got to start using her body the same way like Mercedes Russell is in the paint.
Canada, Froling. Does Keeley go herself? Here is Hillman, baseline. Misses everything. And away comes Mitchell.
Well, you have to give the Flyers full credit for the way that they are made the adjustment defensively and not letting the Boomers get all the way to the basket.
Cole. This time. Canada holds it up. 2-second differential between shot and game clock. What can Jordan come up with here? Boomers would dearly love some late points. Straining to keep close with Southside in the second term. Goes herself, kicks it to the corner. Wallace! Massive for Christie, massive for the Boomers. Long-range shot, rims out, and once again, Melbourne managed to just hang in. Christie Wallace, 3 for 23 since returning, coming into that shot. She hits the corner ball, Laurie, which gives her enormous confidence and brings the margin back to 6.
Well, they needed that because they did not want to go into halftime with any more of a margin, because right now, no question that the momentum, the shooting, everything is in favor of Southside.
Dominant player on the floor in the first half. No surprise. Lauren Jackson with 20 points. Here she is with Candy.
LJ putting on a real show for this home crowd today. 20 points already, 4 rebounds. You really made sure you got that momentum at the end of the quarter. How do you make sure you maintain that for the next half?
We just can't relax at all. I mean, the Boomers are such a great team, and they've shown it, all year how resilient they are. We've just got to keep composed. We've just got to keep doing what we're doing, playing defense, and then we should be okay.
LJ, you have amazing leadership within this team and a huge amount of experience in high-pressure moments like this. What do you say to your team at a halftime like this?
Right now, I'm just telling them not to relax for 1 second, like one play. We can't give them the opportunity to get open threes or drives to the basket. So we've just got to stick together. We've got to play team basketball, which at the moment we're doing. But, we haven't done it consistently, like throughout 40 minutes of a game. So it's going to be interesting to see how we come out. But, I know that the girls are ready to go. And after what happened last game, we're not going to be satisfied with anything less.
Today would be a great day to do that consistent 40 minutes, so hopefully that's the day for you, and good luck back there.
Thank you. Thanks.
Lauren Jackson has been there and done it all twice. In fact, 5 times when it comes to the WNBL. 5-time champion. Her side leads by 6 at the half. Coming up, our Game 3 halftime show thanks to Foot Locker. And as we head to the break, our top 3 plays from Game 2 between the Lynx and the Fire on Sunday afternoon.
I think I've had a pretty good season, just representing as a big. I see in this league the guards get a lot of love, but I'm going to represent as much as I can as a big girl in the league. There's bigs that I've done.
Never been in such a season that's been so tight before. There's a lot of talent spread out throughout every team. Every game that you come across is a real big challenge, which is exciting. You'd probably prefer to have the season like this than any other league.
Conti, Canada, back to Mon, and Mon's on early. In 2020. It's this year that's seen her talent match up with the opportunity, Laurie, and she was a worthy nominee for the Breakout Player of the Year award.
Absolutely, she wasn't. And what I think has been really important for the Boomers is that they didn't know how long Wallace was going to be injured for. And Conti's come in and just played a brilliant role as the point guard for a long time opposite Jordan Canada. We saw what a great combination they make out there. But she's just gone from strength to strength and deserves every accolade she has right now.
They've got their hands cut full tonight with the Southside Flyers bringing that intensity, Zoe, that they showed in Game 1. They lead by 6 points at the half.
Yeah, and even in that second quarter, a big statistic that stood out for me was they had 10 assists in that quarter alone. So they're clearly sharing the ball. Their ball and player movement is great. They're finding good opportunities and they're finding their bigs inside, which is just, it's almost the opposite of what was happening in the last game where they went a bit perimeter focused. So you can see what that's doing for them in terms of their ability to put points on the board, but also what it's doing for them from a confidence perspective.
Laurie, in these big games, it's about finding something that works and just keep going to it. We saw the Boomers do it when they started getting to the rack in game 2 and the Flyers had no answer. And tonight, the Flyers have come up with the formula.
Well, they have. One, defensively, they're doing a much better job than they did in game 2. And 2, they've got their own game plan, which is to get that ball inside. And that's something that the Boomers will have to talk about at halftime, try and find a way to make an adjustment to stem that flow, because right now the Flyers look very confident in all aspects of the game.
Well, if you look up winner in the basketball encyclopedia, there's a big picture of Lauren Jackson. She's won everywhere she goes, Laurie. And have we ever seen a better big game player than LJ?
Well, and we knew that. Chris Lucas knew that at the beginning, that she's the one that's going to, she's just got that winner's mentality about her, and she can, you know, she's 2 from 3 from the three-point line. She posts up, and that spot right there, that turnaround jump shot, has just won her many championships the world over. And she's just such a competitor. She drags her teammates with her.
Vibes, similar vibes to that Asian Cup bronze medal game, the World Cup bronze medal game rather, in Sydney a couple of years ago, Zoe, when LJ just gritted her teeth, put her team on her back and said, we're not losing today.
Yeah, we've all seen it. She gets a look in her eye and she's just going to pick the team up and take them with her. And it's great to see. Now, the challenge for the Boomers is how do they adjust to that? How do they stem her impact on the game?
So the Boomers, 31 of the 47 points for the Flyers to halftime have been scored by their bigs. But you look at the MVP award voting this year in the league, all guards. Wasn't lost on Mercedes Russell.
I think I've had a pretty good season just representing as a big. I see in this league the guards get a lot of love, but I'm going to represent as much as I can as a big girl in the league. There's bigs there.
Plays Russell, Jackson, Ernst. Nas Hillman's at 188, Laurie. We saw how well they used their body in game 2. Can they do that again in game 3 and make some sort of adjustment? Is it the movement coming in? What are the pieces that Chris Lucas can move around at halftime?
Well, we talked about, yes, go at halftime and make those adjustments, but you're not just going to grow all of a sudden overnight or at halftime. So it's about trying to stem the flow. So putting, as I said, more pressure on that perimeter passer, giving your time for your bigs, maybe to get in front, maybe three-quarter front, maybe get your helps defense to come a little bit quicker, but it can't be so easy. It can't just be she gets it where she wants it and finishes off, and Mercedes as well.
That wraps up our Game 3 halftime show. Thanks to Foot Locker. It's the Flyers up by 6 at the main break. Third quarter action from the boombox next.
Hi, my name's Christy. I'm Jordan. We're here with Fletcher and Sia, and we're here for the Forward Aussie Hoops program. Take your ball. That one's... That one's a good one. She was eyeing that one for a long time. Good thing about the sport basketball.
That you can shoot.
You can shoot? Okay. We got a shooter here. All right, yeah. What's your favorite shot?
Layup.
A layup? When you grow up.
I want to be a doctor.
A doctor?
Yeah.
What kind of doctor?
Brain surgery and heart surgery.
Brain and heart surgery?
Uh-huh.
Favorite basketball movie?
Space Jam.
Space Jam? Okay. Space Jam is a classic. All right, Sia, you got to end on a layup, Sia. Let's see it again. There you go. There it is. There you go. Guys. Good job, Sia. Good job, Sia. All right, Wally.
Thanks to Forward Aussie Hoops, the perfect intro to the world of basketball for kids aged 5 to 10 years. Visit aussiehoops.basketball to register. Getting set for third quarter action. Game 3, the decider in this semi-final series. The winner to face Perth in the grand final. It's the Flyers by 6 as we get set for third quarter action. Candy's courtside.
Yeah, I went to catch up with both teams' assistant coaches from the Southside camp. They've said the intensity is so much better than Saturday night. Happy with their discipline as well. And right now they're winning the boards by 1. The message to the team was win the boards, win the game. When it comes to Boomers, there was only one message: slow LJ down. They think they put together a pretty good defensive play. They just hope that it doesn't end up firing up the rest of the team. Also, you'll notice opposite the Boomers bench, a big thank you to Deakin Uni. It's their naming rights partner. They bought 500 tickets and then subsidised them for their members, so they were able to all sit together. That's why you can see a big sea of purple and gold opposite the Boomers bench.
Thanks, Candy. As we start the third quarter, Boomers ball. They trail by 6. Southside taking control in that second term. Canada rolling, and it drops.
And Canada just does such an amazing job of changing her pace off those screens, and that little hesitation, Southside have got to try and stay down and not fall for them.
8 points for Canada on 1 for 7 shooting. Got to the foul line repeatedly in the first half. Russell being harassed by Conti. Mitchell from long range. Russell, there's the size and the strength of Mercedes Russell. Canada to Rochi. Back to Jordan. Hillman. Amy Rochi goes herself, can't finish, and Russell comes up with the board. Cole to Maddie Rochi. Back to Beck. She go inside to Jackson or go herself, twisting and turning, gives it off to Russell, shot clock to 6. Maddie drives. Maddie finishes.
With so much attention on Jackson in the post, it just opens up so many lanes for penetration.
Canada gets the rolling screen. Does she go back to Keeley? She does. Now back to Jordan. Shot clock to 5. Keeley will take the shot.
Interestingly, Jordan Canada seems a little bit hesitant in what she wants to do out there. I thought there was twice she could have had a pull-up jump shot, and she chose to try and find Froling and get her to take that exact same shot.
She's 1 for 7, as we mentioned, so maybe just a little down on the confidence. Keeley pulls the trigger but can't make it drop. Flies with a chance to go back to a double-digit lead. Russell to Rochi to Jackson to Cole. Mercedes matched up with Hillman. Steps out now. Mitchell. Jackson will roll to the hoop. Leilani goes herself. Conti fouls and Lay will go to the line. That's a third foul for Mon Conti early in this second half.
And foul trouble is going to be a real issue for the Boomers coming into this third quarter. You know, Conti on 3 now. Froling on 2. Rochi on 2. Reed on 2. So they're going to have to be careful and try and play things a little more straight up.
Given they've only got 7 players really in their active rotation. Not a lot of wiggle room there if they start losing a couple.
And will we see Penina Davidson if that is the case?
Christy Wallace looks like she's getting ready to check into the game, you would think, for Monconti. Indeed. So margin at 10. Biggest lead of the game for Southside. Critical minutes now for Melbourne. Done a good job at hanging around in the second term. Southside relentless. Hillman, she needs to get going. Just the 4 points for Naz. Wallace, could she be an X factor? Christie off the bench.
That was nice. She came off that screen and just caught it in rhythm. Shooter's mentality went up. Nice, easy basket.
Russell to Rochi. Pops it over the top. Oh, what a catch and pass from LJ in one motion.
As you mentioned, Zoe, that's the hazard of that double team, and somebody with Mercedes IQ, she knows that she's going to roll straight to the basket and they're going to have trouble absorbing her.
Canada from long range, no good. Flies have it on their terms right now. They're in control. Jackson rolls. Wide open in the corner, Mercedes Russell. Boomers have got some issues. Timeout in the third. It's the Flyers up by 12 points. 6:27 to play. Game 3 of this semi-final decider at the Boombox.
Lift that, okay? Throw it back, okay? In screen. Just read. The ball is sticking. And do not make her carry all the time. Stop throwing it back to her. Okay, move the damn basketball, everyone. 3 side. Cheek. Movement. Trans if she calls it. Let's go.
Southside by 12 points midway through this third term. Lauren Jackson's got 20, Russell 15. The bigs doing the damage for Southside. 35 of their 57 points. Candy Hurts courtside.
Listening into Cheryl Chambers, it was all about finding bodies, making sure you do not move away from your player and just to keep that aggressive nature up.
Laurie, we had a chance to listen in to Chris Lucas. What was his message?
Well, he was really firm about the fact that he wants more ball movement. He says it's sticking with players. They're letting the defense adjust before they take their shot, so they need it quickly. They need ball and player movement.
Russell fouls Hillman. And Zoe, you saw straight out of that timeout, offensively for the Boomers, tossed it around a lot more.
Exactly. Every player touched the ball. Ball went from one side to the other, inside, outside. And again, then you're able to get those offensive rebounds and get yourself to the line. So it's always great as a coach to have a team execute something as you come out of a timeout.
Hillman's had a super season. Average 15 points, 9 rebounds a game. Misses that one. 22 points, 9 rebounds in game 2. Laurie, she was a massive factor. They need her to have a big impact in the second half.
Well, and that's where the Southside have done their homework, because they would have recognized how she had that impact in game 2, and they've really taken her out of her comfort zone and her scoring options, but there's still a half to go.
Cole, Russell, Rochi. Russell rolls towards the hoop. That leaves Jackson open. Trouble.
Wow, she is in the zone, Lauren Jackson. And just her game face, even at the interview at halftime, she did not change her look, and she has not changed it since the opening tip-off. She is focused.
Hillman, Canada. Naz towards the hoop. Jackson there to cover. Canada, tough finish, and she gets it to roll. Can Jordan get rolling in this second half? 2 for 9 now for 10 points. So room for improvement from Canada and Hillman. Some X factor from Wallace off the bench. Jackson again. Not this time. Crowd holds its breath. As the ball sails through the air at the boombox. Canada looking to step it up in the second half. You can see Jordan starting to lock in now, Zoe. It's got that look about her.
Yeah, she's ready to step up and take over this game. But if the Boomers don't take care of their on-ball screen and roll coverage, Jackson's going to have 50. They cannot allow her. They got let off the hook a little bit earlier. They've got to make sure that that third defender comes in and just tries to stop her from that easy catch and shoot.
Canada got across. Knocked it out of bounds. It'll remain a Southside ball. With just under 5 minutes left in the third term, they lead by 10 points. Winner will face Perth in the grand final.
Jackson's almost played 20 minutes already, and normally during the season she averages about 22.
Cole harassed. Oh. Beautifully worked and one. Froling throws her head back in frustration. LJ's putting on a show. She's up to 25 points and will go to the line. Knowing what she's going to do and stopping it, two very different things.
Yeah, and they're trying to be disruptive on the on-ball screen by trapping that, but again, then rotations have to be quick. You can't allow easy catches, especially when they have such a size advantage and can just see over the top and find open players.
She said she's not going to Paris. Sandy Bronzello, if you're watching, put your pitch together for us. Here's Rochi. She gets to the rack and draws a foul.
You can just see the difference in ease offensively. The Southside Flyers are getting whatever shot they want, whenever they want, and everything seems to be a bit of a grind for the Boomers right now. And when they had that possession coming out of the timeout where they moved the ball, it got through sets of hands, shifted sides of the floor, they got really good looks. So I think they need to go back to that and try and stay away from, one pass drive or trying to execute off transition and try and move the ball a little bit more.
Can't afford to leave points at the stripe either.
Well, they do need to test the Flyers' defense, which has certainly picked up from game 2. But if you shift the defense a little bit more, then there might be gaps to be able to penetrate a little bit more easily.
Amy Rochi goes 1 for 2. 12-point game. Dickey to Jackson. Cole versus Rochi. Jackson inside calls for it. Beck dishes. Mercedes, tough finish. Jackson with size, hauls it in and finishes.
See, the thing is right now is Frawling's on Jackson, but with their rotation, she's had to move and then go on to Russell because she's free, and that just leaves Jackson wide open.
Is it Penina Davidson time? Is it time to roll the dice? Do they need a different mix with their bigs? We know Penina hasn't played since January 13, but they're reaching all or nothing stage as Hillman takes it to the rack.
That's what they need, is Hillman just doing that nice, easy work out there.
And Penina's warming up on the bench. Russell, Mitchell. Oxygen. Three and a half minutes as Penina does check into the game. Welcome back, Penina Davidson, her first game since January 13. Can she change the dynamic? Melbourne needs something to stabilise the situation and then start to get it back on their terms. Plenty of time, they can score quickly.
Oh, that's such a big ask for Penina, playing in the game 3 of a semi-final against 2 of the best bigs in the competition.
Haven't played for 2 months, just
yes.
Step on in and face the GOAT when she's white hot. Hillman. Wallace. Can Christie come up with something special? Puts it on the floor against Russell and draws a foul. Third foul on Mercedes Russell.
And I think that's got to be the tactic right now. Try and go at the bigs and get them in foul trouble because no other defensive scheme's working on them right now. So try and get it to a point where the coaching staff of Southside Flyers now have to make decisions as to whether they sit them or not because they're in foul trouble.
3 for Mercedes Russell, 3 for Leilani Mitchell. Lauren Jackson yet to have a foul, so she's got no issues. Wallace makes the first.
Having said that, they do have Carly Ernst to come in.
It's a bit luxury, isn't it?
Exactly.
This is the second, though. Boomers 11 for 16 from the free throw line tonight. Margin at 11.
Boomers need to be a bit more disruptive right now. You can see, as you mentioned, Zoe, Southside are just able to do what they want, move the ball where they want. They need to put more pressure.
Moving on, Jackson.
How do you stop that? Seriously.
Unstoppable. LJ's got 30.
Goodness.
Conti from the stripe, pulls up. That won't drop. Jackson pulls in the board. Conti comes across, knocks it free, picks up the ball. And then through the hands of Reed. Canada takes the spell. Froling's having a seat as well. Critical last 2.5 minutes here for Melbourne as Russell and Cole sit down. Can they eat into the deficit and give themselves a chance in this final term? Or can Southside stretch it? Mitchell to Rochi to Dickey. Back to Maddie. Hillman goes up and makes it her own. Every play so vital now for Melbourne. Wallace, Davidson, off to Conti. Patina looks to set a screen on Mitchell. Now rolls towards the hoop. It's knocked away. Well played, Southside. Ernst. Rochi, Southside full of energy. Dickey. Rochi. Davidson disruptive. Ernst still comes up with the points.
When it's your day, it's your day. Right place at the right time.
15-point lead, the largest of the game. 90 seconds to play in the third. Conti. Melbourne need a good shot here. Inside to Davidson. Well done, Ernst. Big rejection from Carly. Over the top to Dickey. Will she go at Hillman? She will. She finishes. Southside are rolling.
They can sense what's happening right now. The whole team is up and about.
Boomers on the ropes. Reed goes to the rack herself. Melbourne need a stop or two here and some points. Got to find something that's going to work for them that they can go back to time and again. First, they've got to stop Southside at the offensive end, and that's proving near impossible. Jackson double-teamed, throws it away. Well done, Melbourne. Conti to finish. There's two they get back. As you said, Laurie, they've just got to be disruptive. Throw some different looks at Southside. Do something to get them out of their rhythm.
Out of their comfort zone, out of their rhythm. Make them have to think about what they're actually doing out there.
And this can be the final play. Rochi, Mitchell, body blow. Oh, yes! Leilani with a gut punch on three-quarter time. And the Flyers head to the final change with a 16-point lead. 1 quarter to play in Game 3. Southside 10 minutes away from a grand final. Can Melbourne turn it around? This is the Cygnett WNBL semi-finals. Thanks to Foot Locker. Three-quarter time at the Boombox in Game 3, the series decider. And Southside led by 2 points at quarter time, 6 at the half. And they've extended it to 16 points at the final change. Lauren Jackson with 30 points and 7 rebounds. And Southside right now rolling towards another grand final. They're 10 minutes away. What can Melbourne do to turn things around? They've got to get a flying start here. Will it be Canada, Hillman, Froling, Wallace? Who can get hot for the Boomers? Laurie, for Chris Lucas, what are you saying to your team?
He'd be saying, I'm so glad to see Lauren Jackson hasn't started this quarter and she's sitting on the bench so that we can try and make a dent in here. No, he's going to say you've got to be disruptive defensively. You've got to just try and, come up with some stops and then some good baskets at the other end and just slowly chip away at this 16-point lead.
Quick foul on Christy Wallace, who's up and in on Rochi. Melbourne have just got to have maximum disruption here. What can they do to throw Southside off their game and get rolling themselves? Such small margin for error. Margin at 16. Russell, well done, Reid, but it'll remain a Southside ball. So it's just got to be built off pressure.
It does. At the moment, well, for the entire game, Southside have 6 turnovers. That is just itself. They're getting to do whatever they want, whenever they want. They need to be disruptive. It might blow it out to a 30-point loss, or it might just bring you back into the game.
Good pressure there, affected the shot. Can Melbourne come up with the first points? But Canada loses it. Has time to go back and find it, and still plenty of time on the shot clock. So now she'll reset. Wallace goes right. Here's Reid, calling for some movement. Hillman comes across to screen Mitchell. Now they roll back off Nas. Needs to hit it and does. Margin back to 13.
Well, that was obviously a set play, and they're not defending you. They're standing well off of you, Hillman. If you're open, you shoot it.
Ernst. Rochi, things can change so quickly with little moves like that. Canada hits the floor off the ball. Melbourne ball. Maddie Rochi wanted a flop call. And momentum can change quickly in just a couple of possessions. Here's another look. What did you make of it, Laurie?
Oh, I think it was a legitimate call. I didn't see it as a flop.
13 points the margin. And the Boomers string together some consecutive baskets. Get it back to single digits and start to put some pressure on Southside. Or will the Flyers stabilise the situation again? Reid to the corner. Canada, extra pass. Wallace. Reid comes over the top. And it remains a Melbourne ball.
That's the sort of look they've got to continue to try and get. The ball movement, feet inside the paint, extra pass. Whilst it didn't go in, higher percentage looks like that are what's going to get them back in the game.
Canada. Wallace. Back to Jordan. Can she get hot?
Wow.
10-point game.
That's the number we always talk about. If you can get it at that 10 or under margin, you're still in with a chance. 8 minutes, a long time to go in this ballgame.
Flyers would love a stabilising basket here, just to settle things down. Mitchell goes down off the ball. Rochi to Cole. Shot clock to 4. Beck drives. Massive basket.
I have to say, Beck Cole's played one of her best games in a little while, and it's not just that she's scoring a few points, but she's commanding attention. She's cutting hard.
Canada fouled. And it feels like it's Jordan time for the Boomers. Zoe, put the team on the back and go for it.
It's going to need to be if they're going to get back into this, because every time they make a little run, Southside seem to have answers. So they're going to have to string some stops together and then look to get their advantages quickly. And one of their biggest advantages are Jordan Canada.
One of the all-time great point guards watches on, Christy Harrower. Canada misses. Boomers 12 for 18 from the line. Mitchell, Dickey, Back to Leilani. So composed and calm in these sort of situations. For Southside, it'll be a case of just put the ball in Leilani's hands, let her make decisions. Because more often than not, they're right.
And you talked about it earlier, Zoe, the great positioning that Russell uses, how she uses her body. She just kept that defender behind her when they switched and was able to get that ball out of the air and finish.
Wallace and Canada combined. Screen from Froling. Jordan a hesitation, then gets to the rack. Might be Canada or bust here for the Boomers. Mitchell to the corner. Well done, Dickey keeps it alive. Now Cole. Beck up to 11 points. Up against Wallace. For three. It's short. Well played, Dickey. Can't finish. Jackson in there. Away comes Reed. Melbourne a chance to get it into single digits. And they do.
And that's how I think another way that Melbourne can get back into the game is to run, to push. There would be some tired bodies on Southside because they've played a really physical, active game. But having said that, there haven't been that many subs for Southside.
They're almost half the margin. They trailed by 16 at three-quarter time and now sits at 9 with 6:40 to play in game 3. Don't miss a beat of the WNBL finals. Thanks to Foot Locker to lace up and elevate your game. footlocker.com.au. Let's listen to Cheryl.
Okay, it doesn't really matter which big you go to as long as we're smart down here. Okay, we're going to try and go to Slim if we can. Try and get it, this person come, but if she has to feed it here, the other one comes and we play. We just run out of 4 here. Everything's okay, we're just going to take good shots. They're pushing us out of everything, okay? So go back door, Biggs, be safe with the ball, and then rebound. Get on the boards, get on the boards, get on the boards. Not now, not now. We're going to go 4 here, okay? Here we go. Southside, execute here, execute.
Rebound count 27-24 in favour of Southside. Zoe, what did you make of Cheryl's message?
Yeah, well, she's looking to set up an offense. She's recognised that the Boomers are trying to be disruptive and they're trying to get in lanes, so she's calling for them to backdoor cut and find those lanes to the rim. But she also still wants the ball going inside, so they don't want to go away from what's worked for them just because there's been an adjustment defensively.
Handy was listening into Chris Lucas's huddle.
Yes, Wally is key to their next play, so keep an eye on her going left. Also, they said it was all about every single moment. Every moment matters, and the plan is to use every one of those timeouts, just like they did in game 1.
Here's Candy Mitchell, Dickey. Jazz elevates and finishes with class. That's all the Flyers need to keep doing. If they keep scoring, there's nothing Melbourne can do. Canada, athletically, somehow even got her hands on it to keep it alive. Hillman, Nars from the corner. Away comes Mitchell. She just cruises down the court. Over the top to Russell. No panic when the ball's in Leilani Mitchell's hands. Cole trying to shake Reed. Drives. Inside, Dickey. Not quite. Jackson, more than quite.
And there's that backdoor cut from Dickey that Cheryl Chambers was asking for in that last timeout.
Jackson at 32. Margin at 13. Approaching the midway point of the final term. And the Boomers find something special.
A lot of standing around right now by the Boomers. They need to keep moving. Nobody can afford to spectate.
A speculative shot from Wallace. It's still alive. Gathered by Froling. They'll get a fresh shot clock. 8 seconds on the clock. Canada. Hillman. Will this go? Yes, it will. Back to 10 again. Now the critical stop or two for Melbourne. 10 points still comfortable, Zoe. It's when they get a couple of points more and you can get it down to 2 or 3 possessions, you start to get a little bit worried.
Yeah, I don't think Southside need to panic right now, particularly at the offensive end. They've just got to continue to move the ball and find their opportunities. It's really critical right now, though, that the Boomers lock down defensively. They've got to disrupt this possession in particular to try and just break that 10-point margin psychologically, it does so much to be under 10 points.
Cole looking frustrated on the bench. Mitchell and Canada. Here's Rochi against Wallace. Jackson. Rochi. Jackson looking to post up. Here's Russell. Canada guards Mitchell. Closely to the corner. Jackson over the top with size. Great rebound and put back from LJ.
And that is just heartbreaking for the Boomers. Defensively, they did such a good job.
Here comes Dickey. Knocks it away. Wallace to Canada. Jordan against Rochi. Hillman drives herself and takes two.
Well, Hillman's just absolutely come to life in this fourth quarter, and I'm sure that's something they talked about at the quarter time break.
8 points in the final term for Nas, had 7 to the half. Russell. Here's Mitchell with another of those bone-jarring threes. Leilani's feeling it.
Well, they've got so many big game players. Jackson, Leilani, we know how filled with experience they are. And when it comes to crunch time, they just know what to do.
Every time the Boomers have tried to rally, Southside have slammed the door on their fingers. What's Chris Lucas got?
Come on, go to the point here. T in the corner. We're going to go Horns flare for Nas. Okay, so we'll screen that. Okay, come off her and flare that. Have a look. You may have a driving lane. If not, okay, they'll blow that up. If you haven't got the shot, dribble and back door. Okay, now, next pick and roll, blitz the thing. I don't care who it is. Blitz it. Don't lay down here.
Zoe, what does he mean by blitz it?
So he wants to trap it. So he's wanting to be aggressive and not allow. Again, they've got to be disruptive, and they're at the point now where they're scoring, so that's good. But when they have the ball in the hands, they need to get 2 players on it to try and just create some turnovers.
Meanwhile, Cheryl Chambers was being listened to by Candy.
Yeah, she said to them, I know they're being physical, but you have to still bring it. We know how physical they are being as well, because as you notice on Mercedes' left arm now, she's got a bit of tape. She got a bit of an injury in that last play.
Hillman to Froling. It's all about execution here. The Boomers have got to be near perfect. It's knocked away. Who touched it last? Southside ball.
It's been a fascinating series to watch this with both coaches, the two most experienced coaches in our competition at the moment. Cheryl Chambers, 351 games, Chris Lucas, 370 games, and just the adjustments that both coaches have been able to make. And we can see that blitz, exactly what Chris Lucas called for in that timeout. And exactly how you explained it, Zoe.
Thanks, Laurie. No, but as you can see, last 3 minutes, they're going to have to throw everything at it, and things like trapping are really disruptive.
Need quick points here, Melbourne. Can't afford to go deep into the shot clock too often. Only got 3:16 left. Wallace knows it, takes the shot, and then goes in and fouls in the process in trying to rip it out. As Laurie mentioned, they're so experienced across the board. The Southside Flyers. It's been a really professional performance from them tonight. A great response in Game 3. They've upped their intensity. And they've executed their game plan to perfection. Jackson. Here's Mitchell again. No hurry from the Southside side of things. Dickey sees a shot she likes. Here's Jackson again. That's the story of the game. If you want to know what happened, just show that 5 seconds.
And there's nothing Keely Frawley can do about that. I mean, she tried to block out. Jackson just purely had the height on her and was able to score.
Mitchell to the corner. Dickey runs into Conti.
So Jackson has had 10 points at each quarter. Is she going to get up to 40?
She's at 36 right now, a double-double with 10 rebounds.
Or does Cheryl Chambers take her out of the game, take Leilani Mitchell out of the game? A few of them, you know, it's the way they're playing right now. This is a pretty big margin for the Boomers to come back in 2.5 minutes.
Game 1 of the grand final is Sunday. So Lauren Jackson will live in an ice bath for the next couple of days. Here is LJ. She's saying, leave me in, I've got 40 in me. It's a bit like shooting your age at golf. She wants 42. Here she goes. There's 2 more.
Come on, LJ.
38 for the GOAT. Conti from long range.
Perth would probably be watching this and going, okay, now does she have that in her for game 1 of the grand final series?
And 2 and maybe 3.
Yes.
Jazz Dickey again, we've seen her impact in the second half. That unique blend of power and athleticism and size. Such a difficult matchup. Final 2 minutes. Flyers by 17. The league MVP, Jordan Canada's had a great year. Tough finish, and away comes Jackson again.
That's 143 rebounds.
Well, again, I think the Southside season sort of got on track when Leilani Mitchell was injected into that starting lineup, and she's been great. She hasn't scored as much this game, but you have to defend her, and when it becomes an on-ball with her and LJ or Mercedes, I mean, who do you defend? How do you stop that?
Russell, not quite, but there's Jazz Dickey again. She's so impressive. She's going to be a factor in this grand final series. We know how quick Perth are. They play full throttle basketball, and Jazz Dickey's got the speed and the athleticism to go with them. Froling has been gritty in this series. She's been outsized. She's worked hard. But tonight, Lauren Jackson just too good. Final 40 seconds. Russell, 2 seconds. Jackson, why not?
Oh, that would have brought the house down. We were jumping up in our seats anyway.
It's been a 40-piece. Still time to get it to her. LJ with 38. 3 from Conti. And there is Lauren Jackson. She'll sit down with 38 points on 15 of 22 shooting. 11 rebounds. And a chance for LJ to win WNBL Championship number 6. To put it in perspective, the Flyers and the Boomers have won 6 between them as franchises. LJ's won 5 and a chance to win 6 on her own. And the Flyers have done it again. Southside defeat Melbourne in Game 3. They're into their 4th WNBL Grand Final in 5 years. It'll be Southside and Perth to fight for the WNBL title. So many players have played for both these franchises just in recent seasons. They're great rivals, Laurie. One of the core rivalries of the WNBL and has been since they first met back in 1992. But it was the Flyers by 2 points at quarter time, 6 at the half, 16 at three-quarter time, and that proved to be the final margin. Southside 93, Melbourne 77, the Flyers through to another grand final.
I tell you what, it is a legitimate rivalry, crosstown rivalry, and it's great, but there's also so much respect between these teams, and you can see, as you said, Jason, they've crossed, they've played with each other, they're friends, but on that court, it is a rivalry.
Credit to the Deakin Melbourne Boomers. They were banged up this season, and they fought on. They snuck into the finals, and they pushed Southside all the way. But tonight belongs to Southside and Lauren Jackson, and here she is with Candy.
38 points for you, LJ, 11 rebounds. I know you are the absolute professional. You keep that poker face all the time. But how good does that feel, helping your team to get into the grand final?
Yeah, it's awesome. But we've still got a long way to go yet. We've still got to work on stuff and get better, because Perth is, you know, they're a great team and they're playing some great basketball right now. So, I mean, soak it up.
Soaking it up is definitely what also your fan base are doing. This is what you do, LJ. The FIBA Women's World Cup, 30 points to win the bronze. You had an incredible effort as well, making sure that the Opals got into Paris Olympics this year, and now here to help your team get into the grand final. What goes in your head mentally when you prepare for these unbelievably important games?
Oh, it's a lot different now. I think that, you know, obviously I was injured last year and it's taken me a long time to get back, but you know, Cheryl, right from day dot, was like, you know what, it's not about this end of the season, it's about the back end. And I want to do things right now. I want everything to happen right now. But she's been patient with me. And, you know, now I can do a lot more on court between games and stuff. So it's sort of like, I don't know, I just feel like it's okay. Like we've still got a long way to go, you know. Like we just won one game. So there's a long way to go. So
5 WNBL championships already to your name. This could definitely make it the 6th, but it's been 14 years since you've been in this position. How different does it feel this time round?
Well, I was there last year. I was just on the sideline in moon boots. It feels different because I've got my beautiful children and I'm probably not as young as I was then. So, look, you know, I'm looking forward to it. Let's just say that.
Well, we love to see you with a smile on your face. 38 points and 11 rebounds. What an amazing show you put on for everyone at home and everyone here today. Good luck in the grand final.
A wonderful win for the Southside Flyers. They've done it again, Zoe. They win game 1, get dominated in game 2 and find a way to adjust and come back and win game 3.
And just shows to the class of that outfit to be able to turn that around and not learn their lessons and then be able to move on from it and implement it in the game. But to watch Lauren Jackson, just the ultimate competitor and just never satisfied. I don't think she will be happy with what's going on until they've won this championship.
She had the eye of the tiger tonight, Laurie.
My goodness, she certainly did, and just the way she went about it, you knew that she was going to come out and give it her all. That's just the sort of player she is, and she's just so experienced in these big game situations. But I just loved her comments after the game, and it's just she's focused, she's ready to go.
Lauren Jackson with 38 points, 11 rebounds, and a great spread of scorers, which was what was missing in game 2, Laurie. 17 for Mercedes Russell, 11 for Cole, 10 for Mitchell. They shared the load tonight.
Well, they did, and I think that's really important to note that, yes, we're celebrating Jackson and her 38 points, but she has ably supported by her teammates, especially Mercedes Russell. You know, we talked about their influence of their bigs, but you have to give the guards credit because they fed those bigs the ball all night in a really, really superb way. So really a great team effort.
Cheryl Chambers in another WNBL Grand Final series. Here she is with Candy.
Congratulations, Cheryl. Another grand final for the team. How excited are you with the efforts of your team today?
Oh, super excited. I mean, it's been, you know, we've been up and down all season and we had to bounce back after what we were pleased with the other night. So super pleased, super proud of them and look forward to a great series ahead.
You've got some incredible veterans in your team, obviously, LJ with 38. She said that she was so happy that you were patient with her throughout the season. How thrilled are you to have her on the team and healthy this year?
Oh, look, she was unstoppable. You know, absolutely. I mean, just not scoring, but on the offensive boards, and she was tenacious and, you know, just, it's like vintage Loz, isn't it?
And you've also got some incredible young guns too. How proud are you of them?
Oh, look, I'm proud of the whole team. I mean, a season takes a whole group of people and different roles and whatever. I'm so proud of the team, and I'm really happy that we get a chance to play in the grand final.
Now, I overheard you saying to Carly Ernst that you had a bit of an interesting way to motivate the players today. What was that?
Well, I did say I'd give a case of Moe to anyone that got 15 rebounds, so I think Loz was trying to get the 15.
I absolutely love any form of motivation. What does this little period look like now before you take on Perth on Sunday?
Oh, look, we'll go back in the change rooms, get together and enjoy, you know, a couple of moments, and then it's back to recovery tomorrow, and you know, we've got our work ahead of us.
Congratulations on an incredible season, and good luck once again in the grand final series.
Thank you.
Now we know why Lauren Jackson didn't want to come off. She was on 11 rebounds, was trying to get those extra 4 for the case of Moe. Well, last season they defeated Melbourne 2-1 in the semi-final, then got swept by the Fire in the grand final. And for those who remained, Laurie, it's been a driving force for the last 12 months. They retained 6 players. No Sarah Blitzarves, no Mon Conti, no Amy Rochi, who all crossed to the Boomers, no Abby Bishop, who went to Europe. So it is quite a different lineup to the one that made the grand final last season.
Well, it is a different lineup, and they're playing a different, you know, style of game as far as really concentrating on their bigs but having good input from their guards. And the other thing too is that they don't just rely on Jackson. They've got all those scorers out there. So yeah, they'll be really fired up and ready to take on Perth. Exciting series for the grand final.
Shot 54% from the field, as we can see there, Zoe. Rebounds in the end, 37-27, so they controlled the glass. And their bigs, well, they built it off the bigs.
Yeah, well, you can shoot at 54% when they're all 1 foot from the rim, and that's, like you mentioned earlier, the guards did an outstanding job of finding the bigs, and the bigs did an even better job of using their body, creating that position, and then finishing.
So it's Southside versus Perth in the 2023-24 Cygnett WNBL Grand Final Series. Beck Cole was there in their 2020 championship. She was their finals MVP last season, and here she is with Candy.
She does look like she's all smiles right now, but about 5 seconds ago, she was in the middle of this court with the court announcer absolutely giving it to the crowd. Do you want to bring us some of that energy again? What did you just say to them?
Oh my God, amazing. It was just, what a great spectacle of women's basketball that we had here tonight. 2 Melbourne teams, massive crowd, and just it's a change for our fans to come out here and for them to come support us. It is a 6-man on the floor, is just super massive, and I just love getting around them because it does make a difference.
Beck, we can always feel your energy. It's absolutely palpable. How are you feeling in this exact moment?
I feel bloody great. We just got to a grand final. You don't go through all this blood, sweat and tears all season to lose in a semi-final. And, you know, we lost the grand final series last year. That fire still burns right in my belly. And these girls, we fought through so much, and each and every single person is so important. It's not just the starters, it's not just the bench, it's everyone, it's the staff, it's our fans. So this just means the world, but it ain't over and it ain't done yet.
Beck, I don't know if everybody knows the unbelievable leadership role that you actually play within this team. I know sending little texts to your teammates and really trying to motivate them on a day like today. You don't have to tell us the exact language, but what sort of stuff do you say to them when you send those messages?
Look, lately it's probably been a little foul because it's been really expressive and let's go. But you know what? Today I didn't need to text anyone because we knew what we did on Saturday wasn't good enough, and it was enough talking. It was time for action, and you know, we have our little moments between each other that you just have a look in each other's eyes and you know what you're talking about, and you don't get that with every team, so that's something that's super special to us.
Congratulations on making it to the grand final once again. We expect nothing more but absolute power from you. We hope you enjoy a little bit of a break until Sunday, and we'll see you on the court back again.
So it's Southside and Perth for the championship. 2 very different styles of basketball, Zoe. We know Perth play with speed and chaos. Southside like to get it inside to their bigs. Let's start with Perth and that matchup. Your initial thoughts on how Southside and Perth will go at it across potentially 3 games in the grand final?
Yeah, well, we know Perth love to run. They put points on the board quickly from everywhere, but mostly from outside the 3-point line. So Southside are going to have to make sure that they stem that, they get hands to their shooters, but that they're not getting sucked into playing at their pace as well, because where Southside are really good is when they're methodical with their offense and they move the ball and they find those bigs. So they don't want to get into a foot race with Perth, because if they do, that's when it's going to become difficult for them.
That's the same trap that Townsville fell into, Laurie.
That's exactly right, and they lasted about a quarter of that to stay with them, and then that just wasn't their style. So certainly Southside will have to go. We have the advantage in our height. You know, Emily Potter's there big, who's had a fantastic semifinal series, but they need to utilize it. They need to go in like they did today and really mix up between inside and out. And then, of course, Perth will be looking at that and going, wow, LJ.
So Southside with home court advantage through the grand final by virtue of the fact they finished in second place. Perth sneaking into the finals in fourth. So game 1 will be at Parkville on Sunday. Game 2 in Perth on Thursday night, 6:30 local, 9:30 Eastern. And then game 3, if necessary, will be Sunday back at the Boombox. Southside and Perth. Tickets available tomorrow. Go on sale for all those games at WNBL.basketbol. And of course, you'll see all those games live right here on ESPN. Laurie, Zoe, Southside tonight, too good.
Absolutely too good. I love the adjustments that they made from game 2. They came out really focused. You could see, you know, LJ, you could see Leilani, Beck Cole, everybody was focused right from the tip-off, and they got the job done.
That wraps up game 3 from the Boombox. Thanks to Foot Locker. Congratulations to the Southside Flyers through to their 4th grand final in 5 years. On behalf of Laurie Chiswick, Zoe Carr, Candy Hertz, our entire production team, thanks so much for watching. Join